Well, bowling fans, thanks for joining us again today from Town and Country Lanes in Burlington. We've got the 900 Global Train Open, and Dwight, three very talented young ladies on the lanes today.
You bet, Phil. We have Katie Zwiefelhofer and Caerlina Williams and Sarah Muench, and talk about the best coming to the top. And these three girls are, even on Route 66, I think are going to put on a great show for us.
Yeah, with our opening match, you talked about Katie Zwiefelhofer and Caerlina Williams. I mean, two bowlers, they style when they bowl, and they really matched up on the pattern real well today.
Well, I think they have great physical games, Phil, and it allows them to take any pattern and open it up a little bit because their physical games are so good. And I think they also have a pretty good knowledge on their equipment and what their equipment's going to do, even on a 4-to-1 pattern like Route 66.
And then the winner of that opening match takes on our top seed, Sarah Muench. A little slower ball speed, a little bit more of the scenic route than we see with the other two ladies, but Sarah gets the job done out there.
Yeah, definitely that she's going to hook the ball a little bit more. I call it the slow looper type of game, and maybe by that time, and the lane's broken down a little bit, that might be a little bit more of an advantage to her.
And Dwight, as we talked about, Route 66, not the easiest lane pattern in the world, and the ladies are going to have to play very direct most of the time to get to the pocket, more than they usually do.
On fresh, yes, I would agree with that, Phil, but by the time the kids get out there, they'll have some lineage on the lanes. They'll probably be playing a little deeper in the track area, and I think once it breaks down a little bit, it could open up a little bit for them.
I think we're going to see some high scores, as always, coming from Town and Country Lanes. Joey, Dwight, and I back from Town and Country with our opening match in just a couple of minutes. Buy the 900 Global Train. Get the awesome jersey free, a $60 value. Go to 900global.com for all your details. The opening match of the 900 Global Train Open. We always bring you the handicap division, this time sponsored by High Five Gear. And Dwight, Spencer Erdman from Kenosha leading things off.
Yeah, Spencer's got a real nice game, Phil, as you'll see, and he's been coached with Tom Kaditz in the group down at Sheridan Lanes in Kenosha. Nice revolutions, nice rotation, nice turn on the ball. I mean, just really nice physical game. You can see Tom and the other coaches have done very nice with him physically.
Yeah, really talking to his parents before the match started, he's really taken the game seriously over the last few months, and getting ready to get in the middle of the high school season now, and wants to make a bigger contribution for Kenosha Tremper this year, and they're always one of the best ranked teams in the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, he started at 10 years old, Phil, on his bio sheet, and obviously now 15 years old, so he's been bowling 5 years, and for 5 years he's developed a very nice physical game.
Well, first shot on TV for Emily Ruehle, age 17, bowls in Muskego. I know you mentioned before the match started she used to bowl with your daughter Ashley.
I believe so. I believe she was on Ashley's team, and they went all the way to state one year up in Schwabenon Lanes in Green Bay.
And that ball needs to hold, even though it's a long pattern, and she goes high, leaves the 6-7-10.
Yeah, she has a very similar game, Phil, to what I remember. Classic stroker type of style, not a lot of revolutions on the ball, and because of that, you're going to have to play a pretty direct line.
Yeah, and you can see on the replay right there, that ball was only about 7 or 8 feet away from the head pin before it picked up a really strong roll, and with that long 45-foot Route 66 pattern, it takes a little bit for that ball to turn over.
Big thing that I would like to see her work on her game a little bit is a little bit more of a proper position with her body at the finish. We call it post-finish position. She could get a little bit more knee bend and lower her hips a little bit more, and that alone would get her a few more revolutions on the ball, which would create a little bit more hook. Nice starting point, though. Natural 4-step game, and there she kind of pops up out of it, Phil, at the finish.
And a big split, 3-6-7-10. Well, a little easier than what she just left in frame number 1, but still probably a 10-to-1 shot for a bowler her caliber here.
Yeah, not an ideal start for her. And obviously with the whole handicap system, there's 2 pins in Spencer's favor. This is going to be a pretty close to scratch match.
So you see her boyfriend Riley Smith talking to some of the Burlington kids in the background.
And that one she stayed down a little bit better with it, but chopped it off at the end.
So it's going to put her in an early hole. It's going to put her down by 25 pins, thanks to Spencer's 2 pins of handicap as well. So I want to thank Merrill Draper and all the staff here Town and Country Lanes, for hosting us again. Another great center, and you'll see the All-Star Bowling on another channel coming up shortly. And I know as we're airing this, the qualifying is finishing up, and they'll get those TV shows going pretty soon.
And that one actually quit, Phil. You could see that it started to try to hook up about 45 feet and then decided to quit or roll out at the very end before it hit the pins. Thought he actually threw a pretty good shot, and the ball kind of quit. They're bowling on Route 66, and Route 66 field plays, what, 45 feet?
45 feet in length, and it really forces the bowler to stay second arrow or farther inside in order to get the ball back to the pocket. There was a lot of oil outside and a lot out of bounds, and you can still get the ball to turn over and be effective, as you saw in Spencer's spare there, even with a long pattern.
Yep, and always remember at 4-1, basically that is approximately twice as easy of a sport-compliant condition, or about twice as hard as what you would see with league bowling. So we could say that, Phil, this could be like a medium hardness type of shot. With the right type of equipment, the right type of game, it could definitely produce some scores.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see it on the girls, the rest of the show today with the girls bowling, and then on the next show with the boys. Higher revs, playing it tight and straight. Those are the bowlers that really succeeded, and you can see right there, Spencer got that one a little bit wide and just didn't have the recovery room.
Yep, right there. See it? Did you see that ball quit? It tried to turn up to the pocket, but it stood up too fast, and the ball just kind of rolled end over end into the 3-pin. So again, almost you would like to see is something that would have a little bit more angularity. And even on that shot, which I'm assuming that he was trying to make it on the crossover, he ended up hitting the pocket with it because the ball's not continuing on the last 10 feet.
Yeah, and first time on TV for both these bowlers, so the nerves are working a little bit hard, and sometimes what we see for ball reaction, we get the privilege of with the replay.
Right.
They don't get to analyze that in real time when they're throwing the ball on the lanes. That's a much better shot for Emily, but it still comes up high, and a big break trip in the 6.
Oh, that was 4-6 for a split second, Phil, and then at the last second, I don't know what it was, the 3-pin?
I think it was the 3-pin.
Took out the 6?
I think we'll get a replay on it here. Yeah, let's take a look at that 3-pin.
Yep, 3-pin.
Off the wall. Nice tight sideboards here at Town and Country Lanes.
And they're bowling on Brunswick Anvil Generation 2 synthetic, and that's more of the modern synthetic that's out there, and we'll play a little bit more like the HPL 9000 panel, which a lot of centers use, and a nice double there, and that definitely is taking advantage of the earlier break the frame before, Phil.
Yeah, I think that's going to loosen Emily's swing of getting into the second half of this game, and I want to thank our friends Rob Wagner and the Wagner family down at Trophy Athletic for all the awards they provide for us to pass along to the kids when they win tournaments. So if you're ever looking for promotional materials, nice gifts to give your coworkers, or give Rob a call down at Trophy Athletic. And a big break to kick that 7 out.
Yeah, the biggest thing I see, Phil, is with Spencer's equipment is what I call the dead ball syndrome. Right at the break point, the ball almost visually looks like it's skidding into the pins and not turning up to make that last 10 feet of entry angle. And that's where the viewers must understand where a ball's going to die is in that last 20 feet of reaction. So I just wonder if that revolver that he's using is a little full of oil.
Yeah, it could be, and especially with the amount of oil on the pattern, the ball's trying so hard at the end to get friction and get back in the pocket. It can use its energy very quickly. It might be a little bit too rough of a surface on the ball as well. Maybe if he had a tamer surface to go with it, the ball would change a little smoother.
Agreed. Totally agree. But he's got nice revolutions on the ball, and he matches up very well for speed and rev rate. Nice simple 4-step game. Just right at the break point, the ball just does not want to turn up to the pocket. That one, it looked like he pulled a little bit.
Yeah, that was definitely about 3 or 4 boards left the target out of his hand, and now he's thinking, oh, I just had one open, and I'm going to have another one. Yeah, you can just see that ball. That ball's chugging nice and hard that time when it gets to the pocket.
Yeah, it stood up right before it hit the pins, and that's ideally where you want it to be. And this, again, is going to be a pretty tough spare to make, especially on Route 66.
Well, looks like he's got 2 on that spare. We're going to get into the commercial break. Emily Ruehle is going to hold on to an 18-pin lead, and we'll be back with the second half of our High 5 Division Final in just a couple of minutes. The High 5 Gear Division Final here from Town and Country Lanes in Burlington. And Dwight, Emily Ruehle has got herself an 18-pin lead working on a double.
Yep, and look at the nice starting position, Phil. 4-step timing, nice timing at the finish. The only flaw I see, she tends to lift up out of the shot, and that in most cases will create the pull.
Yeah, and that time you can see her elbow kind of fly out to the right along with it, and that's just going to get that ball on a left projection out of her hand.
Yep.
And I've shot at this a few times being left-handed in my career, the bucket, but I'm sure Emily hasn't seen this too often. The old 3-5-6-9 for a righty doesn't pop up too often.
No, I actually just recently bowled a Scotch doubles tournament at Village, and my mixed doubles partner is a left-hander, and she left me one of those. And I'll tell you, you get on the approach and like, well, you haven't thrown this one in quite a while. It makes you think, okay, how do I play this?
Yeah,
so she did a great job covering it up. Probably better than what I did.
Yeah, that's not an easy one. When you get those spares in those Scotch doubles tournaments, when you're opposite hand from your partner, there's a lot of thinking involved, no doubt about that.
Absolutely. But this, I mean, she lost a little bit on the count, but at least she still got the lead. And a nice strike there, Phil, through the 5 into the 7.
Yeah, got that 5 out of there in a little bit of a hurry, maintains that 14-pin lead, and Spencer's coming up here, and he's just looking to stop the bleeding now after a couple opens in a row.
Yeah, got to obviously put a stopper behind those 2 opens. He's got to get something going.
So looks like he may have made a little bit of a move even deeper now after going high on that last shot. Real nice out of his hand, though.
Yeah, he's just not lined up, Phil, yet. But it's an easy spare. Avoided the split. Leaves the 6-pin, but I think he's going to have to continue to make an adjustment to get to the pocket. The best ball in the world's not going to strike if you're not hitting the pocket, Phil.
Yeah, switches to that polyester spare ball. We see a lot of players doing that. Even the lower rev players nowadays, they know to take that lane out of play out of tougher conditions.
Yeah, you have to.
And he just overcorrected from the last time he was up on that lane. We saw him pull it when he left the 6-9-10. That time he eased it out of his hand and slid behind the 6-pin, and now it's a big 25-pin hole with 4 frames to go. It's a lot of striking's got to be done now by Spencer.
Yep, it's kind of starting to get to be crunch time. Even though you only got half the game in, and the last 6 frames are very important. He's doing the right thing there. Take a deep breath. He looked at the score. He knows where he's at.
So, makes that move. That's left out of his hand again. Oh, but it held pocket.
All fallback, Phil. Completely fell back, tripped out the 4-pin. Thought for sure it was going to go high, and there's a case where you're happy that the ball kind of fell back to the pocket or didn't have that strong snap on the back ends.
Yeah, that could have easily been a 4-9 or a 4-7-9 for Spencer. And now Emily got to get back up and throw another strike to stay in the lead ahead of her partner. And, no break on that 7-10.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. I'm sure she would have been happy with a 6-10 there, and instead of the 6-7-10 or now the 7-10 type of split. If you watch for a split second, the 6 was there. Actually fell funny. It actually fell forward and back.
Yeah, it's kind of a rare leave nowadays with these powerful bowling balls with the through-the-nose 7-10. You probably see 10 times as many pocket 7-10s
Agreed.
On light hits as you do through-the-nose 7-10s.
Yeah, and the pocket 7-10s are the ones that give the bowlers, I would assume, the most amount of anger. Because they feel they hit the pocket, they deserve the strike. When you hit the nose and leave the 7-10, well, you got no one to blame but yourself.
Yeah. Emily does the smart thing, though. Knocks the 7-pin down, gets that extra 2 pins in count because she was working on a strike.
13-pin lead yet.
Yeah, with 3 frames to go. And she likes playing tennis outside the bowling season, hanging out with her best friend Kelly. Want to make sure she said hi to Kelly. And Kelly maybe can help her knock out that 3-6-10.
Well, Emily's got to be making the spares here. Otherwise, she's going to leave Spencer back into the game.
So 3-6-10. So early in the match, she left it with a 7-pin, and she chopped the 3 and the 6 off. So I'm sure she's going to want to make a little bit farther move left and let that ball take all 3 pins out.
Well, you make a good point, Phil, about when you have a tougher pattern out there, how the spares are more and more important, and you're seeing more of the kids, even the lower average bowler is throwing a plastic ball at him. She decided to throw her hook ball at it, Phil, and ended up chopping it.
Yeah, you can just see barely misses the 6-pin. And even with that angle, that 6 probably would have just fell into the gutter and not taken the 10-pin out. So
and we have an even match, Phil, at this point. And actually, Spencer could take the lead if he doubles here. And there's his best shot of the game.
He's got that fallback shot down right now. He's just letting the ball do the work. He realizes that, as we talked earlier, maybe the ball surface isn't just right, and just play it as straight as you can and try to get all 10 pins out. And he does it nicely and gets that 9-pin lead.
He made a good adjustment, Phil. It does definitely look like he moved in. And he is playing the fallback. I don't know if he's doing it purposely. I bet you if you ask him, he'll probably would not assume that he was doing it. But in his mind, he's probably finding something that's really working. and
huge break.
Take out the 5-10. That's a big three-bagger. He put his head down as soon as he threw it. He knew it was bad off his hand. But, on paper, Phil, it looks the same.
We see it all the time in these matches, and even with the best bowlers in the world, sometimes they make that mistake, and it's part of the breaks of bowling. Sometimes you can make a bad shot and get a good result.
And here's Emily in the 4th or 5th frame with about a 20-pin lead, almost a 30-pin lead, 26-pin lead, and now she finds herself behind with just a couple frames to go. And that's how quick it can turn around.
Yeah, and she really needs being down by over 20 pins right now. She basically needs to get this spare and strike out in the 10th frame and hope Spencer has a big open to have any chance of winning this high 5 division title.
And that's right, unfortunately. Tried to hook back, Phil, and didn't make it.
Yep. Ball couldn't get over. I bet you a new 900 Global train would probably get over there and get those 2 pins down, though. I've seen that ball, and it hooks. There's no doubt about that, and it hits like a train. They're not kidding.
She wouldn't have left that, Phil. She was using the 900 Global train. She probably would have carried the strike instead of leaving the 4-7.
Yeah, and got to test that ball, and let me tell you, it's going to be a nice addition to my arsenal now. I haven't had a new ball in a while, but I'm glad I got that one. And
interesting name, you know. I mean, they got the truck and hits like a truck and hits like a brick, and you got all those. Now you got the train. So, but the way I look at it is, I don't care what it smells like, I don't care what it looks like, I don't care what the name is. If I shoot nothing but strikes with it, it's the greatest ball in the world.
Yep. Well, Emily's going to finish in 2nd place here today in the high 5 division. She'll get a nice scholarship award for that.
Nice cover there.
And something to build off of for the rest of the high school season. Like you said, she's, she's bowled high school for a number of years now, and she's really, looking forward to bowling more with her boyfriend Riley Smith. And once the high school season's done, and
she's bowling from him too.
Yeah, she's bowling tournaments, and her dad coaches her a lot as well. And she wanted to thank her dad for all the coaching he's done. And
keep at it. Work on the finish a little bit more. Get some equipment in your arsenal. Try not to do it with one ball, Emily.
Not a bad finish. 145. No, that wasn't the game that Emily was looking for, but hey, nothing to hang your head over on that. We've seen worse out here on first games.
Yeah, and she had the first half, Phil.
Yep.
I mean, she was way ahead in the first half of the game. There's just a couple unfortunate opens, 7th, 8th, 9th, all in a row. And then Spencer got up there and threw a 3-bagger at her, and boy, how quick it changes.
Big break there to just leave the 6-pin, but match is no longer in doubt. Spencer Erdman gets his first Youth Challenge title thanks to High 5 gear. He'll also receive a certificate for 50% off a full custom jersey. And there's some nice bowling shirts out there. You got that train jersey we get to see when it comes up on the screen, and you get that when you buy the train ball. If you're looking for other jerseys, give High 5 gear, go to their website, and look at all the different styles they have there as well.
Yeah, it's just awesome. You come out with a new ball and you include a jersey with it. What a great promotion. Bowlers love to look good and wear a shirt that they're using with the ball with, and have that ball shirt recognition, and it's a great looking shirt, Phil.
Absolutely. Oh, Spencer strikes here. He'll shoot 177 with his handicap.
That one he really rotated.
Gets 9, gets out of here with 176 to 145 victory. And we'll be back with our girls semifinal from Town and Country Lanes in just a couple of minutes from the 900 Global Train Open. Buy the 900 Global Train. Get the awesome jersey free, a $60 value. Go to 900global.com for all your details. Town and Country Lanes is our host. The 900 Global Train Open girls semifinal. A couple familiar faces this season, Dwight, with Caerlina Williams and Katie Zwiefelhofer.
Ought to be a great match, Phil. The old cliche is the best rise to the top. And Caerlina and Katie obviously is that. 2 fantastic physical games here for young ladies that want to watch how it's done right, Phil. Watch these 2 girls.
Nice 5-step, sweet through the shot.
Yes, last time I saw her on the TV show, I commented that she looked a lot like Kim Terrell at the finish. I still do. Carbon copy position. And Katie, we were saying between break, has been on 97 times on your shows, Phil.
That's what it seems like, yeah.
She's now in college at UW Whitewater. And obviously, what can you say about her game? But again, greatness and great ball motion. Nice 3 phases of ball reaction. So these 2 girls know how it's done.
Absolutely, and I think from the scores we've seen in qualifying today, 2-0 is not going to win any of these matches we see on TV the rest of the way today. Both these girls got through the match play portion of the tournament with convincing wins, both averaging over 210 for the day already. So, and with these lanes opened up after they bowled qualifying and a couple TV matches on,
Wow.
they're just destroying racks.
Yeah, how was that for pin carry? 5 gone instantly on that one. I call those super messenger strikes. She probably threw it and I'm like, ho hum.
Yeah.
That actually was the head pin.
When you throw enough of them like Katie's done on TV in her career, they can probably be a little ho-hum after a while.
Katie is throwing the mission, older mission, and I think the fans at home, Phil, want to know that the girls are actually bowling on the pair of lanes that has had some use already. These were not re-oiled before the show started, so they're going to be a little bit more tracked up in the mid portion of the lane. So she started with her nano fill and then used the mission when they broke down.
Yeah, and Caerlina here using a Storm Marvel Pearl, so even though it's a Pearl bowling ball, the lanes have opened up a little bit on a 45-foot pattern, and she wants to keep the lane in control. The only thing sometimes is if you get it a little left in the oil with a Pearl ball, you get a little squirt and you get that 10 pin. So she's got a pretty solid spare game. I mean, we've seen it all day in qualifying. She wasn't letting pins get away from her.
Yeah, you can see right at the end, about 10 feet before the pins, it just slid right into the pocket. Very similar type of trajectory on the last 10 feet on what Spencer had in our last match.
And that needs to hold on, and all that oil in the middle and a long pattern.
Push.
Sometimes you got to make those adjustments. Yeah, that one just pushed right in the gutter. So
yeah, it's an early opening for Katie. You would think that she'll jump all over that. And I agree with you, Phil. This one could go down to the last ball. Who's going to stay away from the open frames and have the strikes at the right time?
Nice, fluid, just relaxed on the bottom of the swing, and a little different 10 than what Caerlina left. That was more of a ringing 10.
That's your 6 whistler. That one just flew up and over the 10. We'll see how she does on this and makes the right adjustments. And hopefully won't do the same thing that Caerlina did going cross alley at it. And it looks just like she did, Phil.
Yeah, that oil in the middle is kind of getting the bowlers a little bit when they're shooting at the right side spares. And between you, Dwight, and Joey on our other shows talking about how spare shooting gets affected by the oil in the middle of the lane. Yeah, I'm sure it's a wake-up call for both these young ladies.
It can be. And it depends on what they're practicing on, Phil. If they're practicing on a house shot, they're used to what their plastic ball's doing. On a house shot, it might actually hook back a little bit. But when you got a 4-to-1 ratio and the outsides are untouched when you're going cross alley, you bet, Phil, that plastic ball can give your eyes a little different look.
Yep. Well, a bucket here going cross lane at it. A little advantage on a longer pattern, I think, than a shorter pattern, because you can use your strike ball, hook into it, and she covers it up perfectly.
Yep, she sure does. And you could tell also the one thing, Phil, is on both of the girls when they shot the 10 pins, they went at it real quick.
Yeah.
For me, I actually take up a little bit more time on the approach when I leave a 10 pin, make sure that my eyes are focused on my mark. I want to make that 10 pin. I guess I was raised in a different era. I didn't have the big, powerful strike ball that is available today, so you had to make spares.
Ooh, wow. Almost went down on that shot. She's checking herself at the foul line, and that's a scary moment when you get a little stick there. You can see she's checking the bottom of her shoe, and
a little sweat on the tile floor. Anything it could be. They're also bowling on synthetic approaches, aren't they, Phil?
Yeah, they are, and you can see right there that foot just stops, and she stayed behind the foul line. She caught her balance, stayed behind the foul line. Ball was out of her hand when she had to regain her balance, and she still was able to keep it on line.
That's body control.
Yes, right, indeed.
5-step approach, beautiful backswing. There's a better post and a better finish, and this time she kicks that 10 out.
A great shot getting to our commercial break for this match. Join us again for that 900 Global Train Open from Town & Country Lanes in just a couple of moments. The 900 Global Train Open from Town & Country Lanes. Everybody go out, buy that new 900 Global Train, get that nice looking jersey for free with the ball. And boy, these bowlers are dressed up nice in their jerseys too, and Katie's just looking good, shredding racks. So is Caerlina.
That had some power behind it, Phil. Hopefully we'll get a replay on that one, but that just was, again, there we go. That's one of the super messengers, I call it. Look at that head pin. Just slap across the deck.
I'll tell you what, we got Katie here and Caerlina both looking good, styling in their high five gear jerseys. 900Global is giving away a Train jersey when you buy their new Train bowling ball. And I think it has something to do with the mental attitude. If you're looking good on the lanes, you're going to throw the ball a little bit better to go with it. It gives you that good feeling when you're styling out there, Dwight.
Absolutely, Phil. If you're comfortable and you have a material that you're wearing, allows that arm swing to be nice and free and loose where you're not having any hesitation in your clothing, and you look good and you know you look good and you feel good, absolutely it's going to raise that mental aspect of the sport. Absolutely.
Yeah, and those 900Global Train jerseys, those are nice and comfortable. We both like our high five gear jerseys as well, and lots of fashion choices out there when you're tripping 4 pins, aren't there?
I don't know if the fashion has to do with the trip in the 4. I think that's a pretty good break, Phil.
Yeah, definitely. Watch that 2-pin come off the wall. Bombovich kicks that 4-4.
Big strike.
Yeah, especially as you keeps it with a 10-pin lead, getting into the last 4 frames of the match here. And
that's what we thought. It'd be close.
Nice and relaxed in that setup. You just watch that elbow. It's nice and loose. Watch it
all day. Just beautiful balance at the finish. Her left arm is right at her side. Just perfectly positions while letting that ball go. She's got such beautiful control of her body, and as a coach, it's just something beautiful to watch. And there's the whistler, 6 around the 10. Nice forward roll on the ball when it hit the pins too. Impressive game, Phil.
Yeah, I think she's going to learn her lesson here from her missed 10-pin in the 3rd frame and keep that ball a little bit more direct towards the 10. And she's done it nicely.
Mm-hmm. You know, the big thing, getting back to that shot where she stuck on the approach, synthetic approaches can be one of the hardest for bowlers to bowl on, especially you're used to bowling on wood approaches and used to the amount of slide. And synthetic approaches, man, you can just get a little moisture on your shoe and on the approach, and wow, look at that, Phil.
The 9.5 pin. I think we're going to have to get that respotted real quick. Yeah, the pin setter knocked it down.
Has to be respotted as a 10-pin.
Yeah, a terrible break. Watch on the replay. The 6-pin hits it right.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think Katie's just went, I can't believe it. I had the lead in my hand, and I got a terrible break.
Oh, absolutely. That should have fell.
So we spot it right back up in the 10-pin spot. No problem covering up that time.
Yeah,
both bowlers
50%.
50%.
Ball right there, especially when it should have been a strike. You're right, Phil. She's actually in the lead if she strikes there. Now she's still 10 pins behind.
So Katie's maximum score right now, if she goes off the sheet, would be 236. But Caerlina's maximum score would be 246 if she struck out. How about that 5-pin doing a lot of work there?
Just incredible hitability, incredible power, talented game.
So I want to thank Mark Dempsey from Barbier's Italian Inn on Blue Mountain and the location in Milwaukee Avenue in South Milwaukee as well for
great garlic bread, Mark.
Yeah.
One of my favorites. That's a must do before you die, is you got to have a loaf of their garlic bread down at Barbier's.
Absolutely, and he gives a lot of support out for the kids as well. We appreciate everything he does, and I don't think those 10 pins appreciated standing there getting hit by that ball pretty hard.
Yeah, there's no trip 4 there, Phil. That was just 10 back.
Yes, indeed.
Still, again, maintains that 10-pin lead. Now we're getting into that important 9th frame, sets it up for the 10th. My opinion, the most important frame of the whole game is that 9th frame. Sets it up everything for the 10th.
Yeah, you can't afford with a spare and open here to give 10 or 20 pins back to your opponent. That needs to hold line. Wow.
Back.
I think we're seeing lane 9 play a little tighter than lane 10 after
Agreed.
some of the shots in the high 5 division match, and now with a couple of Caerlina shots on that lane.
Yeah, we saw a lot of fallbacks in the 70s and 80s. Not typical era today. Typical era today was a totally different motion. But back in the 70s and 80s with polyester balls, fallback was very common. There was the entry angle into the pocket that it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And that trip in a 4-pin keeps herself within 10 pins. And
right down to the wire.
No, and it's one thing watching these bowlers, they're not trying to fight where the lane is telling them where to play. They're kind of I guess you could say almost listening to the lane. Lane says you have to play between 2nd and 3rd arrow. They're doing it. They're not trying to force something that's not there. And a lot of the young high school bowlers out there watching, you can learn from that. Shot's not always right over that 2nd triangle on the right side of the lane or left side of the lane.
Yeah, I always, when I do seminars, Phil, I always say there's 39 boards in the lane. You better learn to play at least 20 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Anywhere from first board, second board, to fourth, fifth arrow.
Well, that ball hit like a train. We got to use the sponsor whenever possible. Want to thank 900 Global for their support of the Train Open.
2 words, Phil. Choo-choo.
Yeah, and she needs to find another one right here, and that's just left out of her hand and no break.
Yeah.
Oh, almost.
Yeah, she'll admit that was an ugly shot, Phil.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's at a pretty bad time. It's still going to force her opponent to strike on the first ball to shut her out. If she gets the spare, it's 225. If Caerlina goes 9 spare strike, 225.
Yeah.
So it'd be a tie.
She bowled a great game, though. Katie bowled a great game. But it's now up to Caerlina. She has it all in her hands.
So, yeah, make sure you stop at 900global.com after you've watched the telecast today and see all the information you need to get that free jersey when you purchase a Train bowling ball at your local pro shop, such as at Albrecht Spare Time Pro Shop inside New Berlin Bowl.
Thank you, Phil. Big shot here. She knows it.
That's nice.
And that's 10, and that's a winner chicken dinner right there, Phil.
Yeah, just staying behind the foul line and the next shot, getting a bunch of pins. And
such an impressive game.
Tell you what, no pushover in the next match, though, with Sarah Muench. Sarah led qualifying all day, won her match play round match, 2 games to none to get to the finals. And tell you what, Sarah, former high school team champion with Kewaskum High School last year. She's been under the TV lights before. It's going to be a pretty good final.
Oh, this was a great match, and it, in my opinion, could have been a final. Just a beautiful physical game. Wow. Beautiful. Pins are off the deck real fast.
Absolutely. And she's all business out there. I mean, I've talked to her off
Both
the lanes.
Of them are.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, you talk to them off the lanes. They're great kids. They have fun with their friends while they're bowling the rest of the tournament and everything, but they both know how important these matches on TV are, and it's all business out here.
The thing I'm impressed with both of them, they're so both mentally strong. They're both so incredibly focused. Both of them. There's not one more than the other. And they both make the right adjustments, Phil, too. So that just comes with education.
And is she going to get a break in that last ball? Irrelevant, but still gives her 244 to 225. Join Dwight and I back from Town and Country Lanes for the final match in the girls division of the 900 Global Train Open in just a couple of moments. I have a lot of viewers that ask me, why do you have so many of your tournaments at Castle Lanes? Well, Castle Lanes is a center that has an exceptional atmosphere. The charm of being in a Northwoods cabin while you bowl, an attentive staff on the lanes and in the lounge, all the big screen TVs and a free Wi-Fi hotspot, and being named in Bowler's Journal as one of the 95 places to bowl before you die, you have to bowl at Castle Lanes. That's why we love Castle Lanes, and you will too. Buy the 900 Global Train. Get the awesome jersey free, a $60 value. Go to 900global.com for all your details. All right, bowling fans, you've waited all day for the 900 Global Train Open Girls Championship match. It's going to be a slugfest out there. Dwight, Caerlina Williams, and Sarah Muench, and we got Caerlina leading us off here at lane 9.
Ought to be great, Phil. And again, same thing. Costly errors and getting the right time to get that important double. I think, again, both very talented. There's one of your big breaks right there already, avoiding the dinner bucket and getting the light wally for the strike. But as whoever's going to catch the big break, obviously the lanes now, that third game, could start to go into a little transition. Second look on TV for Sarah Muench. We saw her last year on the Sean Yonan finals. Didn't have her greatest game that day, but I think she's looking to improve on that effort today, and she's right on line with that shot, Dwight. Yeah, very slow, methodical start, Phil. Takes the first couple steps real slow. I am all for that. I think that's great. It establishes correct tempo. Nice rotation, side rotation, return on the ball, and slaps out that 10 just beautifully, Phil. She's currently using the jigsaw corner because it had a lot of back end, and then she switched to her plague because it hooked less, and then she might even make a change to her venom. And that might be is what she's using there because the lanes are starting to dry up. And look at that, Phil. Ball went straight back through the pins, left a cold 9. That could have been an easy start to a double.
Yeah, Dwight, and as you mentioned, both bowlers switching equipment because, as you can see here for Sarah, the ball gets through the pocket a little too strong, even though it's on a long pattern. The bowlers need to keep the ball as straight and tight as possible, so you're going to see what it's done called shelling down, basically taking a ball that's a little less aggressive in the shell and making sure they can still stay on line, where years ago, you and I may have made adjustments with the same ball by making an adjustment with our hand position.
Hand position, speed, feet moving left, yet when we didn't have the variety of equipment, Phil, as we do now.
Nice 5 steps, easy into that slide, but just left out of her hand, and she kind of amped up the speed on that one a little bit.
I agree, Phil. She pulled it a little bit, tried to get it to fall back. It did look a little faster, maybe because she did catch a little bit more oil, especially right before the pins. But the thing that is so impressive, again, with both Sarah and the girls is how disciplined they are mentally. Both of them, they get on the lanes, and Sarah actually wrote that she wanted to stay focused, and boy, you can definitely see that with both of the girls. A little pull on the spare shot though out of there too.
Yeah, Caerlina covers it up nicely. We got an all-even match after 2 frames. So Caerlina, I want to thank her mom and dad for all the help getting into tournaments, and she bowls a lot of stuff outside of the Youth Challenge series. She bowls a lot of the Illinois State Youth Leader tournaments. A lot of tournament action around the Chicago area. I know some of our Youth Challenge bowlers have gone down and bowled some ISYLs. I know David Schwartz, who you'll see on the next show, won an ISYL earlier this season. So, and these kids can get all kinds of experience before they go to those junior gold tournaments and win a lot of scholarship money in the process.
And you can see that, Phil, and that's why they're so comfortable in this setting. Every time I got on TV, it was just so foreign and weird feeling. And these kids just get on TV and they make it look like it's second nature. And that's just the experience, Phil. Again, beautiful game physically, nice rotation and turn on the ball. And she's a little softer on her speed. And that actually is good when you start to get that carry down, because it's going to give it a chance to finish on the back end.
And one thing with both these young ladies, Dwight, is that they both have very slow footwork, but it really allows them to lengthen their swing and let the ball do the work for them and let the ball gain the speed for them. And it's easier for them to control the speed, and in this case for Sarah, keep the ball speed down.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. And it's just amazing that you can change that through the physical part of the game. That's that A game, B game philosophy, Phil. And there's another good shot to leave that week 10. I thought that was a beautiful throw. A nice trajectory, nice inside line. That's the lane, Phil, where it just doesn't want to finish on the back end.
Yeah, you watch the ball in the replay there, Dwight. It almost took out the 10 pin. It was rotating into the pocket. It just didn't have the friction to grab through and drive through the entire pin deck.
And we've seen that on both matches, Phil. We've seen now on all 3 matches, it seems like 9 has a little bit, it could have been a carry down issue, but it just doesn't want to turn over on that last 10 feet. And the girls might have to make an adjustment for that, Phil. Otherwise, you're going to leave a lot of 9 counts on that lane.
So all even after 3.5 frames. Caerlina Williams stepping up in her half of the 4th, and last time on this lane she struck. I'm sorry, last time on this lane she went high.
Up to 610.
610, made the adjustment, and now left just the 4 pin.
And a pretty good shot there. Again, just a pinch high. You could, again, see the ball fall back right before it hit the pins, and it actually wiggled the 4. It just didn't go, Phil.
So
good shot.
We'll see her stay with her strike ball, it looks like, out there. So she'll flatten her hand out. You can see she's running at it, flattened out to take the lane a little bit out of play. Nice and straight. Covers it up nicely.
Again, just extremely, extremely disciplined. Not showing a lot of emotion, keeping her head in the game, and staying focused, thinking about what she has to do in this next shot. She knows that she's in for a battle. I mean, this is going to be a nice, close game, and again, whoever catches that lucky striker or the lucky break could end up being the one that wins it. It just looks like to me, Phil, that the shot on the lane is deteriorating a little bit more, and the girls have to be a little bit more precise and direct. And super bad break there through the 5 into the 7, and the 5 actually ended in front of the 7. Unfortunate break there. Again, easy spare, but at this point she's probably got to think, what do I got to do to get that strike percentage starting to get going here and catch a double or a 3-bagger. 9 spare, she knows probably, Phil, is not going to make her win this match.
Yeah, I mean, she's coming off a 244 last game. She knows it's going to take another solid outing to get the championship for the
Barely held on there, Phil.
Wow. We're going to get into the commercial break for a girls' championship from the 900 Global Train Open. Take a look at the 900 Global website while we take this commercial break. Welcome back to the 900 Global Train Open from Town and Country Lanes in Burlington. Dwight, Sarah Muench is holding on to a slim 1-pin lead at this point in time.
Sarah's game, Phil, I think for this, how the lanes have transitioned because of that little softer speed, I think will end up starting to pay off dividends. That slow looper, just like that, where she just got it to turn at that last 10 feet before it hit the pins and kicked out that 10. I think that could be the deciding factor. Just getting a little bit better ball motion on that last 10 feet. Where Caerlina's ball is starting to fall back and not finish, and that could spell a lot of 9 counts. So we'll see how the match plays out, Phil. But a nice strike there. Maybe she can turn it into a double.
Yeah, if she can double here, she'll extend her lead out to 11 pins over Caerlina.
Again, very well coached, beautiful footwork, beautiful strike there, nice rotation on the ball. You can clearly see that she's got a little bit more axis tilt while the ball is going down the lane, meaning the ball is turning more to her left. Where Caerlina's kind of rolling it a little bit more end over end.
Yeah, Caerlina definitely working on keeping that line, I guess you can say the high and tight line.
Yep.
Trying to keep point A to point B as quick as possible.
Yeah, at this point, I'd love to see a little bit more rotation around the side of the ball. Prime example right there, Phil. She's got to get it to finish on the back ends. 9 spare is not going to get it done. Sarah looks like she's lined up pretty good.
Yeah, and especially right now, the back ends of the lane are opening up a little bit. The oil's being depleted from the last 5 or 10 feet of the lane. And now the roll that was strong before for Caerlina with going end over end isn't as strong now, finishing on the lane. So, yeah, she may need to increase her axis tilt just a little bit, maybe get the fingers around the side of the ball a little bit quicker.
Or maybe make a ball adjustment to where she could get into a ball that is going to be more angular too, Phil.
So, still only down by 12 pins right now, far from over.
Yep, 7th frame. Got to get it going, though. She's had, 3 9 counts in a row? 4th, 5th, and 6th, all 9 counts. So she's around the pocket, just hasn't got the strike going.
So last time in this lane, she was in the pocket, left that blower 7-pin. Probably won't make a move off of that shot. That's a nice ball getting in there and kicks the 10.
Looked a little slower. That's the big thing that I saw there, and had a little bit more roll on the ball too because maybe it was a little slower. But kicked out the 6 real nicely into the 10 and kept the 6 nice and low. Still a very direct line into the pocket. I would love to see Kat's numbers on that, but I got to believe it'd be less than 2 degrees of entry angle. Where I see right now, I'd have to say Sarah's probably closer to 3 or 4 degrees of entry angle. And boy, there's a big difference when it comes to what the ball does when it's going through the pins, Phil. It's just not about hitting the pocket, but you ask all the pros, they watch what the ball does when it goes through the pins, and that's going to be a determining factor with A, what ball they're going to use, and B, if they're going to have a chance to win their game.
Oh yeah,
their match.
Yeah, I mean the big difference in matches nowadays on the tour or even in your local league, who's digging out the corners better? Who's kicking a 10 out? Who's digging a 4 out when the 2 comes off the sideboard and takes the 4 out? So, and it's really huge. And Sarah just got the same bad break Caerlina got a couple frames ago with that 7-pin.
You could tell she pulled it, Phil. There's no doubt about it. She pulled it a little bit in the oil, and the ball, she didn't get that stronger entry angle like she has the last 3 frames. Maybe it was a degree or 2 entry angle, and that was it. She could have got the blower 5 into the 7. She just, again, threw the 5 right in front of the 7. Could have been a 4-bagger, but she covers the spare up real nicely and's got a nice lead.
At point A to point B with that pretty pink spare ball. Gives herself a 21-pin advantage, getting in the last 2.5 frames of this match.
But I mean, this whole game, Phil, is about what the ball is doing when it goes through the pins. And there's always, in my opinion, not enough discussion on that and talk about that. Yeah, you hit the pocket, but is it going through the pins at the right angle to get the strike? And an important double here, and almost left the 4-9 Phil, and just lucky to leave the 4-pin. And that ball actually turned up to the pocket, Phil, at the very last second. And then there she gets her entry angle and almost pays a penalty by leaving a split.
So switches to the polyester spare ball. She'll go nice and direct at it. Both bowlers taking the lane out of play on their spares. No problem. Mm-hmm. Well, here's what we got getting into the last 2 frames, Dwight.
Yep.
If Caerlina strikes out, she's going to have herself a 218 game. If Sarah strikes out, she's going to be in the 230s. So really needs to set herself up here in the 9th frame with a strike.
Yes, Sarah right now is just a pace fill of 219, just pacing at 219, and that's, again, a dinner bucket broken up again. Big break, but Caerlina's running out of time. She's got to get going here.
Yep. So watch that head pin do a lot of work. Take the 2, the 4, the 5, the 7, and the 8. A lot of work by that head pin.
Collapse the dinner bucket, I call it. Yep.
So
Sarah definitely, in my opinion, at least this match, this game, I think has the better motion and the better reaction, and very, very timely strike there. And boy, I think she's so she may walk away with the victory here, Phil.
She's dug out 3 straight 10 pins on lane 10. You watch that 6 pin.
Yep.
Down low, could have stayed in the flat gutter, and it kicks off the sideboard and just gets enough of that 10 pin.
A little softer speed. That's the biggest thing that I see, is she's given a chance for that ball to just dig in or turn in that last 10 feet, and that's the big difference between the two girls. Just what we talked about the whole match and how the ball is going through the pocket. That one looked like a pull, and it fell back all the way, Phil, but again, it looked like she pulled it early in the heads. Lucky, I think, just to leave the 10 pin. There could have been something else with it.
Yeah, needs to make this spare. If she gets this spare and strikes out, she'll have 219. If Caerlina strikes out, 218. So she has
Down
to
the
get
last ball.
Yeah, she has
Phil.
to get spare and 9 to assure herself a win.
Yeah, first thing's take care of business, make that 10 pin. Second thing, try to get at least 8 or more on this last shot.
9 or more, yeah.
On this last shot.
9 would be a tie. 10 would lock up the win for her.
Not taking a lot of time, going right away. Major pull.
Ooh, wow, yeah.
And 3, 6, 10.
The door is wide open here now at the 900 Global Train Open.
Yeah. Guarantee you Sarah's not happy with that field ball.
No, and Caerlina got a little pep in her step getting up to the ball return
She
there.
sure
'Cause
did.
she knows now if she strikes out, she wins by 2 pins.
Yeah, this is the hard part of the bowling right here for Sarah, is sweating it out and see if Caerlina can come through and win it. But again, to do that, you're going to have to get some strikes. So these are big, important shots, especially when she started to lose her ball reaction this game.
That's pretty out of her hand, Dwight.
Yep, and that's a classic Caerlina strike, keeping the 6 low and tripping out the 10. Again, now we're real close, Phil. I mean, this could be even a tie.
Yeah, if she were to go strike 8 on her next 2 shots, we would have a tie. Ties on the U Challenge Series are broken by a 1-ball roll-off until ties are broken. We've only had 1 of those in the history of the Youth Challenge Series. I wouldn't mind seeing 2 personally, because I like the excitement, but I don't think these bowlers want to see it.
Yeah, she took a quick peek at the score. She knows the score, and again at this point, just execute, make a good shot, and it's up to what the pins are going to do. And looked real good off her hand. And, yeah, and that just a flat 10, and it's a shame.
I think that was just a little quicker out of her hand, Dwight. I think it was just a little amped up on the ball speed, and I don't think we'll get a replay, but if you would have gotten a replay, you'd see that 6, as you said, just sat in the flat gutter, and that's going to hand the 2012 900 Global Train Open title to Sarah Muench.
After she took a deep breath and noticed that she got away with one.
A great final match here from the 900 Global Train Open. Join Dwight and I back from Town and Country Lanes. We'll wrap up this entire show for you in just a moment and go out and look for that 900 Global train. Barbiere's, a Milwaukee institution since 1963. Great Italian food for dine-in or carry-out, and great times for your family and friends. Barbiere's, in the heart of South Milwaukee, and near Miller Park on Blue Mound Road. Dwight, what can you say? Another great final match in the U Challenge Series. It's down to the 10th frame. Caerlina Williams could step up, get the 2 in the 10th. She got the first one. Second one, just a little bit of a half-pocket 10.
Yeah, we all wish and dream about being in that position, Phil, and have the ball in our court to decide if we're going to win or lose the match. She threw a great shot, left that weak 10. I mean, it was exactly what we thought it would be, right down to the fill ball. It was just great.
Yeah, with that, Sarah Muench takes home her first U Challenge title. I'm sure we're going to see more of all the 3 young ladies we saw on the show today. So be sure to join us again from Town and Country Lanes, the boys' final of the 900 Global Train Open. Going to be a great finals. For my friend Dwight Albrecht, I'm Phil Brylow, and parents, take the kids bowling. They'll have fun for life. We'll see you on that boys' show.